With the latest trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came some brand new Pokemon, and along with the box art legendaries, we also got introduced to a few regular Pokemon that you will find out in the wild throughout your adventure, and all of them, in my opinion, are fantastic. We were introduced to Lechonk, Smoliv, and Pawmi, and while it wasn't shown off in the trailer, it is most likely going to be the case that most, if not all of these Pokemon will also have evolutions, and in today's video, we are going to be creating and predicting what the evolutions of these Pokemon could be like. And we will be doing so with some custom designs that I have commissioned from DarknWindie over on Twitter. The link to all of his stuff will be in the description below, and I highly recommend checking him out because he does great work. With that being said though, let's go ahead and check out some possible evolutions. Have you ever really wanted a certain Pokemon plush, or figure, or game, only to find out it's exclusive to Japan? I think most of us have been there, but that no longer needs to be a bummer, thanks to today's sponsor, Buyee. Buyee allows you to buy product directly from Japanese websites at a more affordable price, all while they do all the work in the middle that can be more complex for international purchases. Shop from sites like Amazon Japan, Rakuten, Mercari, and even auction sites like Yahoo Japan Auction. And when you find something you like, buy it! Buyee will pick it up on your behalf and then ship it right to you. So you can just sit back, relax, and revel in your newly found world of Japanese merchandise. If you would like to try out Buyee for yourself, you can use my link in the description, and when you do, you will also get a special coupon for 2,000 yen off your first purchase, which is about $15 US. So go ahead and give it a look, and a big thank you to Buyee for supporting the channel. Okay, so getting into the Pokemon now, where would we start if not with Lechonk? Lechonk has taken the internet by storm and has captured the hearts of Pokemon fans all over the world. So designing an evolution for this little guy is going to be a tall task, but what I and DarknWindie have ultimately come up with, I think is pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is my honor to introduce you to Cochungus, the big hog Pokemon. Evolving from Lechonk, Cochungus gains the ground type and becomes normal ground, which goes along with Lechonk's description of digging around in the ground for food, hence the dirt-like pattern that it has around its face. That same pattern actually transfers to the top of its head when it becomes Cochungus, because Cochungus is also based on a biker. This part of the design I have got to give a shout out to Birdkeeper Toby for, because he also did a similar video a little while back where he also made a Lechonk evolution, and he used Lechonk's category as the hog Pokemon as a bit of a pun to base this evolution on a motorcycle. I thought that was really creative and clever, so I decided to do a similar thing, but in a different way, and instead basing my Lechonk evolution on the actual biker itself instead of the bike. As such, the pattern that once covered Lechonk's face is now covering Cochungus's head as a reference to biker helmets. And finally, I of course have also got to explain the name. Cochungus is basically just an evolution of Lechonk's name. The reason why Lechonk is so popular in the first place is primarily because its name, Lechonk. And so I knew that I needed to keep the meme quality of Lechonk's name in the name of its evolution, which is why it features the term Chungus, which is also a very meme-y word, just like chonk. And just like Lechonk, this is actually fitting, because Cochungus is obviously a rotund-like Pokemon, so the word Chungus actually has some descriptive accuracy here. Additionally, there is also even more inspiration going into the name Cochungus, as it also comes from Cochinillo, which is the name of a popular dish in Spain that involves the roasting of baby pigs, and this is also where Lechonk gets part of its name from as well, which really helps the name Cochungus to just work that much more as an evolution of Lechonk. Alrighty, next up in our trio of new Gen 9 Pokemon is Smoliv. Smoliv is a very endearing Pokemon both for its appearance and its name, and it is also a Pokemon that is almost assuredly going to get an evolution. So what could a Pokemon like Smoliv ultimately evolve into? Well, personally, I think it could evolve into something like this. Meet Bustoliv, the olive shrub Pokemon. Bustoliv is primarily based on an olive bush and or shrub, and these olive bushes are also known as dwarf olives and little olives, and since they kinda have this emphasis on their small size, I thought it was the perfect thing to base a Smoliv evolution on, since being small is also kinda what Smoliv is all about. With the design itself, I thought it made the most sense to make the bush part of its design as sort of a hairstyle, if you will, which is also very similar to other similar kinds of Pokemon we've seen in past generations, like, for instance, Gossifleur and Eldegoss. I also think it helps to actually have the bush be part of the Pokemon as well, while still making it seem like a natural part of this Pokemon's body. And as you can see, the bush also contains olives as well, just like Smoliv's head does. But this time around, there's a whole bunch of them, and they are also black olives. The reason for this is because the difference between green olives like Smoliv has and black olives is that black olives are ripe, whereas green olives are not ripe. And I thought this made for a good bit of symbolism for Bustoliv as the evolution of Smoliv, because it shows that it truly has grown and evolved into a more ripened state compared to its pre-evolution. However, just like Smoliv, Bustoliv is also a grass normal type, and finally, the name Bustoliv comes from arbusto, which is the Spanish word for a bush or shrub, since it's based on an olive bush, and, of course, olive. Given that Smoliv very much seems to be the Gossifleur of this generation, I could totally see something along the lines of Bustoliv happening for its actual evolution. But of course, there are also a bunch of other ways that its evolution could turn out as well, and whatever happens, I am really excited to see what little Smoliv will officially evolve into. And last but not least, we have Pawmi. And Pawmi is a bit of an interesting case in this situation, because as the Pikachu clone of this generation, it unfortunately is actually most likely not going to evolve, because Pikachu clones typically never do. Which is kind of unfortunate because Pikachu evolves, so why not the Pikachu clones? And with that said, and in the spirit of just having some fun, we are going to go ahead and give Pawmi an evolution anyway. And with that said, I would like you guys to meet Panchumi, the Paw Pokemon. Now, the coolest thing about Panchumi, which is exactly why Pawmi should evolve because it has this potential, is that it is electric fighting type, and if it were to actually be a real thing, would be the first electric fighting type that we have ever had. And the cool thing about this is that it's not just me that's arbitrarily placing this typing onto this evolution because I want to see it happen. It actually works really well with Pawmi's design and what could actually happen to it if it really evolved. Pawmi's whole deal is that it has really big forepaws, and it uses them to rub against its cheeks and shock people, basically. And with these oversized paws, Pawmi has the golden opportunity to evolve into something that makes even more use of them, to the point where it could actually punch stuff. And that is exactly the kind of potential that Pawmi takes advantage of. And it is for this exact reason that we designed Pawmi with such big arms and hands, because it is going to use those big fists to deliver shocking punches to its opponents. And if you can believe it, there's also even more ways that adding the fighting type to a Pawmi evolution perfectly ties into Pawmi's design itself. And it all has to do with the origin of Pawmi's name. Just like Pawmi's name, Pawmi also comes from Nezumi, which is the Japanese word for mouse, and this is used because all of the Pikachu clones historically use Japanese words to make up their names. Additionally, it also comes from the word panchi, which is a word that can translate to punch in Japanese, as in to punch someone. However, I do need to say that from what I've been able to gather, there are multiple words in Japanese that could be translated as punching someone, and I wasn't definitively able to find out if panchi was exactly the right word to use in this context. However, there is another reason why this is used for Pawmi's name that really helps to tie it all together and justify it. And that would be something known as the punch perm hairstyle, which is also known in Japanese as panchi pama. This is a type of perm hairstyle that was developed and seen in Japan from the 1970s until about the 1990s, and it actually goes really well with Pawmi's design origins and inspirations, especially as it pertains to a potential evolution, because Pawmi itself already has a pretty good head of hair. It's not exactly a perm, but I do think it fits well enough with the design to work, and ultimately, that is where Pawmi gets its name. This, unfortunately, most likely will not actually happen, as I mentioned earlier, but given Pawmi's potential to evolve into what would be the first electric fighting type ever, I think it should absolutely break some conventions and go for it. Definitely let me know what you guys think about Pawmi in the comments below, and whether or not you think Pawmi should get an evolution. And if you would like to see the actual creation and drawing of Pawmi, you can check that out on DarknWindie's YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description. And with that, there you have it. Those are some possibilities and some predictions about what these new Scarlet and Violet Pokemon could potentially evolve into. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Once again, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you're new for more Pokemon content all the time. With that being said, I will be back with another video very soon, and until the next one, as always, thank you guys for watching this one. I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.